Hello, everybody. I just want to welcome everyone to this page. I am Jeems, and I'd like to welcome everyone to Nerds. Right now it is January 1st, 2022, New Year's Day. You'll notice I'm a little discombobulated. There's still a little fire in the tank, so from last night, so sorry if I seem a little pickled. But yeah, it's New Year's Day, and I would just like to say I know I haven't been on the site as much as I did, which was weekly, and that's because I decided to kind of save up the news until something big, like a review of something or just a huge discussion. And there was something big, and it was Spider-Man No Way Home. And I was really excited to see that, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Spoiler alerts, there will be mini spoilers. Basically, I'm going to go through the whole movie. But yeah, we all know the setup. We've seen it in the trailers. Well, in the trailers that we've seen. It picks up right after Far From Home ended, and Peter is in pretty deep shit because not only does everyone know that he's Spidey, they think that he murdered Quentin Beck, Mysterio, who people did not know was just a charlatan. They think he was a multiverse hero. And yeah, they go into the legal ramifications of Spidey being Spidey for about maybe 10 minutes. But aside from that, it's dropped pretty quickly, which I think is one of the weaknesses of Marvel movies is the dramatic tension they build up in the last movie is usually diffused very quickly. Like you'll know in Ragnarok, Thor sets up New Valhalla, and it's on the giant ship that he's created. And like in the very next movie, the whole fucking thing has been decimated by Thanos. So it's kind of like, well, why was this a thing? Excuse me. And which is interesting because there's legal trouble. It's the Marvel Universe, and no sign of She-Hulk. So who do we get? We get attorney Matthew Murdock. And yes, he's played by Charlie Cox, who was the Netflix Daredevil, which didn't surprise me because I already knew that those were canon in the MCU, because in the first episode of Daredevil, they talk about the New York attack from the Chitauri, so like, okay, this is not going to have the budget, it's going to deal with smaller stories, but yeah, it's part of the universe. It's not like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where they were like, yeah, we can't really fit this into everything, so let's just break it off. But yeah, it's a neat scene. Like, Murdoch says, they can't hold you under law or under contempt, but you're going to have to deal with something that's even as harsh, the jury of public opinion. it's at that moment you hear, and they're in their living room. It's Matt, Peter, Ned, MJ, and Aunt May, and they're in their living room, and there's like a chunk of concrete, like a brick, and on it says, Mysterio was right, or like you killed Mysterio, something to that effect, and it flies through the window, and Matt Murdock just goes, catches it like that, and he places it down. Peter goes, "How'd you do that?" And Murdock says, "I'm a very good lawyer." And it's the neat scene, and people lost it when that scene came on in the theater. Like, people, oh god, people love that scene. But yeah, the tension is diffused. Something that I like is that, Flash Thompson, who is now, he's like a preppy nerd instead of preppy nerd bully, instead of the jock bully, which I think works now. Since, with kids there's a lot more cyberbullying than there is roughhousing. But I think it's interesting, as soon as he finds out that Peter and Spidey are the same guy, he becomes like the ultimate starfucker. It's just like, oh yeah, I go to school with Spider-Man, I can introduce you. I think that's a pretty neat thing. And, one of the things that really made me smile is they have the three teachers, the ones that are played by the comedians. I forget the white dude's name, but the others are Hannibal Buress as the PE coach, and JB Smoove as, I believe, the principal, or something to that effect. Those are always neat characters to have, because I like Buress and Smoove and the other guy, even though I can't even remember his name. But yeah, they're all very welcoming of Spider-Man or Peter coming back to, like, hey, it's, we welcome you with open arms, and you want to go through our holes. You want to swim through our holes? Go ahead, and just stuff like that. But Smoove and the other guy are cool, but Buress is like, yeah, how's it going, murderer? Like, he's just like full on conspiracy theory dude. And they're like, can you not do that? Can you stop that? It's really funny. Things seem hopeless for the kids, because being associated with this will damage Ned and MJ's chances of getting into a school, and they're up for getting to Harvard, so there's something to that. Something I noticed about the kid that plays Flash, not shaming him at all, not body shaming, his face looks fuller. Like, I'm not even saying fat, but just like, there's a bit more to his face. He's filled out a bit more. And yeah, they need to solve a problem of how do we get the world back to normal. And Peter just goes, I know, I'll go ask Doctor Strange. Which is a hilarious line. Like, I cracked up at that line, because to me that's like going, oh, how do I solve this problem with my landlord? I'll ask Dracula. It's like, I like that. And in the Sanctum Sanctorum, we have Wong and we have Strange. And Strange is using these villagers near the Ancient One's base to, like, clean his house or something. It's weird, and it's like a bit uncomfortable. And since he blipped, he's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme, Wong is, which I thought was kind of neat. And, they find out the power to do making people forget things power, and which apparently Strange uses at parties, like to make people forget that he, I don't know, like killed someone or something. I don't know. But yeah, Strange. Essentially, he just totally gifs the spell because Peter's talking during it, and he puts all the blame on Peter. It's like, dude, you're the one doing the spell. So he's the master of the mystic arts and the master of passing the buck. And Spidey has about like 1,000 different suits in this movie. They really lean into the fact that he used a lot of Stark's technology. He has to talk to the woman about Ned and MJ's application, and he saves her life from Doc Ock, Alfred Molina. And she basically says, like, no, they're getting in. Like, this is getting them in. And the movie really starts up when the villains show up. And yeah, it's really neat because he's fighting Doc Ock, Alfred Molina, and Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. And it gets a bit sitcom-y because, it's MCU, you have the banter. Doctor Strange is very pissy in this movie. He can change reality, but what does he need, ulcers? It's like so much of the stuff he could fix so quickly, but I don't know, he just seems to want Peter to do it instead. And yeah, it's cool to see everyone because we see Molina as Doc Ock. We see Willem Dafoe as Goblin. We see Jamie Foxx as Electro. We see Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman. We see, weirdly enough, Reese Ifans is the Lizard, which was weird because, like, he made such a big deal about how he was ashamed of doing the Amazing Spider-Man movies. It's like, I don't know what changed his mind, but I assume it had a dollar sign connected to it. And at first I didn't know if they were really in it, because, like, Sandman is always in a sand form. Lizard is always in its lizard form. So I was like, are they really in it? And then at the end, when they get cured, they turn to Thomas Hayden Church and Reese Ifans. So it's like, well, you got him for a day at least. It's interesting. This Spidey doesn't want the bad guys to die because, he's got a good heart. And he's like, they're victims of circumstance. It's, if I can have them not die, I don't want them to die. And I think that's a really cool thing. Strange makes Spidey do all the work, basically. And when Strange does the soul separation move, it doesn't work on Spidey. Like, it hits him out, but he's able to kind of swim back into his body and kind of manipulate Strange. It's weird. Strange kind of sucks as both a humanist and a wizard sometimes. And Spidey ends up teaming with the baddies, who all look a lot neater in this one. Um, they hang out at basically Happy Hogan's apartment. Yeah, they all look neater. Like Electra's costume is, it's not like the green and yellow lightning bolt thing, but it's not the black and blue affair that he had in the other one. And essentially, Goblin's costume is more comic-y. Like there's more. He wears like a sweater and a jacket that are the same color as the ones in the costume, and the way he wears them, it gives the impression of like the jerkin and the scales and everything. So that was cool. And Doc Ock recovers. They rebuild the inhibitor chip, so he doesn't have to listen to the four tentacles anymore. And the scene is kind of beautiful. But the bad guys turn, and they'll basically destroy the building. And Norman Osborn and Peter Parker get into a fight. And I don't mean Goblin and Spidey get into a fight, it's Norman and Peter. And the cool thing is, it's wire work, but, it's Willem Dafoe, no spring chicken, doing all of his own stunts. And he's a very physical actor. And Tom Holland, who's like a dancer, and they're just throwing each other through walls and beating the piss out of each other. And, it's really neat because, they're just like Kool-Aid manning each other through walls and beating the holy shit out of each other. The Goblin ends up mortally wounding Aunt May. And at first you think like, oh, she's gonna be okay, right? Like flesh wound, right? But it's like, no, she slips away, and she finally says the line. There's no Uncle Ben to say it, but she finally says, "Peter, always remember that with great power there must also come great responsibility." So we have closure on that. And it's a sweet moment, I think Marissa Tomei really sells it, so I think that's neat. Something I like is that Ned steals Strange's sling ring and kind of traps him in a loop, and Ned uses the sling ring to bring the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spideys in. And like they're all kind of arguing Ned's mom's house, and it's cute because they have the same personalities. Toby's a doof, Andrew's a goof, like they always are. Toby, and I'm not surprised by this. He looks a lot older. Again, not shaming him, but God, it's been like 20 years. I'm surprised. Something that made me smile is that the other Spideys and Peter's friends are just grossed out by the organic webbing that the Toby Spidey has. They're like, that comes out of you? And he goes like, yeah, does it come out of you? Like, no, we make it. Like, oh, okay. And eventually, they kind of make all these gadgets. Without the help of Stark, it's just three boy geniuses. Like man geniuses. Just making cool gadgets to take down the bad guys. And they have this kind of, it's very goofy but very genuine bond on the place they're gonna fight, which is the Empire, which is the Statue of Liberty. like they talk about like who's the weirdest dude you ever fought, and it's like, well, I fought this alien that was a black goop that could turn into a suit. It's like, really? I fought an alien that was like a 12-foot purple dude, and Garfield's like, hold on, you guys fought aliens? Weirdest guy I fought was a Russian in a rhino costume, and they do shit on the Garfield movies a lot, and almost to like a weird extent. There's a scene where, since Toby's gotten older, he has like his Spidey has like back problems when he swings, and Garfield helps him pop his back, and it's an interesting scene. It's just gay enough for my taste. There's they go after the bad guys and end up curing them all in their own way, and there's a cool line by Electro, because he's talking to the Andrew Garfield Spidey, and he said like, you're from Brooklyn, you're a skinny little kid, you save people on the street. Always thought you'd be black. Because he's seeing him without the mask, and he says like, I don't know, there's got to be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. And Garfield Spidey says, yeah, I'm sorry. And of course that's a reference to how Donald Glover was going to play the Miles Morales Spidey, but Garfield was instead not playing another Peter. And but I think that's kind of been amended by the fact that Donald Glover might be playing Prowler. It's something they never got back to, along with Michael Mando playing Scorpion, which I'd like to see. The Statue of Liberty, which now has a shield, the shield breaks off and rolls into the water and kind of creates a cup, and I don't know, I just thought that it's like, is that a Big Wheel reference to the classic, not very well liked Spider-Man villain? And there's a touching moment where MJ is knocked off the tower by Green Goblin, and she's falling, and it's the classic like Spider-Man's girlfriend falling to her doom, and the Tom Holland Spidey jumps after her like he's almost about to get her, but he gets knocked out of the way, so she keeps falling. And then Toby Spidey jumps after her, and like he's about to get her, but he gets knocked out of the way. And then finally, Andrew Garfield Spidey swings in, catches her at just the right moment, and she's safe. And it's such a neat moment because it's like, it happened to Gwen. It's not going to happen to MJ. And I thought it's a sweet moment. The Tom Holland Spider-Man goes nuts, and he fucking wails on Goblin, and in a very ironic twist, when Goblin's like lying there like dazed, almost unconscious, Tom Holland gets the glider and he's about to impale him, but the other two stop him. It's like, this isn't what May would have wanted. And Goblin ends up stabbing Toby, but he's okay. But he's like, yeah, I've been stabbed before, which is true. And Strange shows up after everything is fixed, and he says, the multiverse is fracturing. So, and he tells him, like, Tom Holland says, like, is there any way I can fix this? And he says, like, there's no way to fix this. Like, I can barely fix this. You really messed things up. And Tom Holland says, like, what if we make everyone forget? Just everyone forgets about me being Spidey. And he says, everyone's going to forget your friends, everyone. And he says, that's fine. And he says goodbye to his friends, and that's about it. It's, he's kind of wiped from existence. Everyone has a happy ending, but, there's no, Peter's forgotten by his friends, which is, it's sad, and it's a touching moment. And the last that we ended up seeing is the Tom Holland Spider-Man. He goes into MJ's coffee shop, and she and Ned get into Harvard, and he has this moment where it's like, he can't say anything, but it's like, I know you guys. But you don't know me, but you should know me. But, like, it does seem like he's going to try to reintroduce these people into his life that they didn't even know were in his life. So that's neat. I think that's cool. And he says, like, congratulations on getting into Harvard. So it's neat. And the last shot is Spidey in his apartment. So he's Ditko Spidey at this point. No Stark stuff, no Avengers stuff. He's your friendly neighborhood wall crawler. And it turned out to be a Christmas movie. It's because he goes out and swings. He's in a costume he makes himself. Not like the sweats that he made in the earlier ones, but like a genuine bona fide Spidey costume, and he's swinging around. And it's he swings around the Rockefeller Center tree, and last shot we see is him swinging towards the camera, and that's it. That's the end of what turns out will not be a trilogy. But we do have some things at the end. First off, we have Venom and Eddie, played by Tom Hardy, who are new to this dimension, and they're trying to find out, like, it really is like, so what happened is, like, there was this purple guy, and, like, he snapped, and he's like, I can't even do the voice. Tom Hardy chooses the weirdest fucking voices for his characters. And yeah, he's in the Mexican bar, and, he figures stuff out, and he has to leave because Venom's hungry, but there's a little blob of Venom that's lying there. And I wondered what that meant, like, because we've already seen Carnage, and, there's a good chance that the detective will turn into Toxin, because he got the blue eyes, so it's like, where is this leading? But yeah, and we also get the preview to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And, we see all the characters come back, and he has to get help from the character who now is the Sorcerer Supreme, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. And he has to fight Baron Mordo and an evil version of himself, and character that I've been looking for so long, my girl, Shumagorath, the great cosmic profanity. So yeah, that's my take on, that's my whole thing about Spider-Man No Way Home. I actually dug it. I seriously dug it. Anyways, well, that's about it. I just want to thank you all for waiting for this one. Like I said, and watching videos, and a reminder that you can expect me whenever the big stuff comes around. Remember to like and subscribe. Subscribe. If you liked, press like. If you really like, press subscribe so you know that one of my videos will come whenever I post it. Share this with your friends. That's how I get those big old, the big numbers. All those H bomber guy numbers. I like H bomber guy. He's cool, I think. And anything to say, comment, but keep it civil. I don't need people being mean. There's no time for that. Anyways, yeah, so that's all about Spidey, and everyone, welcome to 2022, and think about the new year, as you always gotta remember, tulips shall grow.